Today, we're going to talk about how to secure what is, without a doubt, one of the most critical pieces of your company's infrastructure, GitHub. You see, it's way more than just a place to stash your code. It's the entire engine for your development pipeline, and locking it down is absolutely non-negotiable. So let's dive right in.
This quote right here really sets the stage. It's a pretty bold claim, right? But what does it actually mean for you and your company? Well, in short, it means the stakes could not be any higher. To really get it, we first need to break down what a Tier 0 asset even is.
So, a Tier 0 asset is the absolute heart of your operation. Seriously. Think of it like the master key to your entire kingdom. If an attacker gets their hands on it, they don't just compromise one little system. They can potentially take over everything. And as we're about to see, GitHub has kind of quietly grown into being exactly that.
So how did GitHub get to be so important? Well, its role has absolutely exploded, way beyond just being a code locker. It's now the central control plane for your entire software delivery lifecycle.
I mean, just look at what GitHub is really in charge of now. It's not just code files anymore. It's managing people's identities, their access, your most valuable secrets, and even the environments that build and deploy your applications. A compromise here? Well, that can lead straight to a devastating supply chain attack and a complete takeover of all your infrastructure.
Okay, so now that we get just how important it is, let's talk about how things can go catastrophically wrong. We're going to walk through the 5 main ways that attackers can turn this amazing tool against you.
First up, and this is a big one, stolen credentials. A single compromised personal access token, which is basically a password that scripts and tools use, is a golden key for an attacker, especially if there's no multi-factor authentication on it. It gives them a direct line to modifying code, boosting their own privileges, and planting nasty backdoors. It is the most direct path to a total compromise. Next up, just bypassing your defenses altogether. If your branch protection rules, the settings that are supposed to guard your most important code, like your main branch, if those are weak or just configured wrong, an attacker can merge malicious code straight into production. They get to completely sidestep your entire review process, and nobody's the wiser.
This is a true nightmare scenario. Your CI/CD pipelines, they often hold the literal keys to your cloud kingdom. An attacker can trick a GitHub Actions workflow into running malicious code, and just like that, they snatch those deployment credentials and can gain control over your entire cloud infrastructure. Game over.
This is a classic, but it is so devastating. A developer accidentally commits a secret, like an API key or a password, directly into a code repository. Once that secret is in the commit history, it's just a ticking time bomb, waiting for an attacker to find it and use it to move all over your systems.
And finally, we have the silent threat. Look, without proper logging and monitoring, an attacker can become a ghost in your machine. They can carry out all of these attacks without even knowing they're there. A breach could go undetected for months, making the damage just infinitely worse. The really crucial thing to understand here is the massive gap between how GitHub is by default and how it needs to be secure. Out of the box, it's just too permissive, too open. Your goal is to completely transform it from that risky default state into a hardened fortress that enforces the principle of least privilege and gives you the visibility you need to actually spot an attack.
Okay, enough of the scary stuff. We've seen all the problems, now let's talk about the solutions. It's time to build a much more secure foundation, so here is the blueprint for really locking down your GitHub environment.
We're going to build our strategy on 3 really simple pillars. First, you've got the gatekeepers. They control who can even get in. Then there's the vault. That's all about protecting your most valuable credentials. And finally, the assembly line, which secures the whole process of actually building and shipping your code. Let's start with the gatekeepers.
For the gatekeepers, this right here is one of the single most critical controls you can possibly implement. An organization owner, they have the keys to the entire kingdom. They can turn off security controls, they can remove other users, anything. By limiting this role to a tiny, absolutely essential group of maybe 2 to 4 people, you drastically shrink your blast radius if one of those accounts gets compromised. This is completely non-negotiable.
Now let's talk about the vault. This area, without a doubt, carries the highest risk. Why? Because a compromise here, like stealing a powerful secret or a token, is the absolute fastest way for an attacker to jump from your GitHub environment directly into your production cloud accounts. And this is the assembly line in action. A secure pull request process is your main line of defense against malicious code getting into production.
It means you absolutely require that automated checks have to pass, that at least 2 humans have to review and sign off, and this is key, if new code gets added, any old approvals get thrown out. This creates multiple, crucial layers of validation.
But, just having strong walls isn't enough. You also need detection. A truly secure environment needs a digital watchtower, a system for monitoring all the critical events in real time so you can respond before the real damage is done.
These right here, these are your 5-alarm fires. Any alert for one of these events has to be treated as a potential security incident that is happening right now. Think about it. An attacker disabling branch protection or adding a new owner isn't just some configuration change. It's a classic sign that a takeover is in progress.
All right, let's pull this all together into one final actionable checklist. These are the critical controls that are going to give you the biggest security bang for your buck starting today.
Seriously, if you do nothing else, please start here. Enforce MFA across the board. It is your single most important identity control. Always require 2 reviewers to protect your code's integrity. Turn on secret scanning to catch those accidental leaks before they become a disaster. Set your GitHub actions to be read-only by default to limit the damage if one gets compromised. And finally, keep your audit logs so you actually have a trail to investigate if something does go wrong.
And that really brings us to the final question you need to be asking yourself. After everything we've talked about today, take a hard look at your setup. Is your GitHub a secure fortress that's actually protecting your company's most valuable assets, or is it a house of cards, just built on those risky defaults, waiting for one little push to come tumbling down? Only you can answer that.